Hello and welcome to the Eye, your English news bulletin. I'm your host Akivito and these are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin and German Vice Chancellor Angela Merkel on Tuesday and discussed the unfolding situation in Afghanistan. Nashik Cyber Police on Tuesday registered an FIR against Union Minister Narayan Rane for his alleged derogatory remarks against Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. The People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration on Tuesday adopted a resolution to restore the constitutional position of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh under Article 370 and 35A. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson will be calling on G7 leaders to step up their support for Afghan people after the war-torn country fell into the hands of the Taliban last week, said British High Commission in India on Tuesday through an official statement. And now the news in details. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin and German Vice Chancellor Angela Merkel on Tuesday and discussed the unfolding situation in Afghanistan.
Modi spoke to Putin for over 45 minutes on the phone and had a detailed conversation over Afghanistan. Earlier on Monday, PM Modi held a telephonic conversation with his German counterpart Angela Merkel, in which the two leaders discussed the current security situation in Afghanistan and its implications on the region and the world. According to the release, the leaders discussed the unfolding security situation in Afghanistan and its implications on the region and the world. They emphasized the importance of maintaining peace and security, with the most urgent priority being the repatriation of stranded people, the release said. They exchanged views on issues of multilateral interest, such as the forthcoming COP26 meeting and the Indian initiative to promote a dialogue on maritime security at the United Nations Security Council.
Nashik Cyber Police on Tuesday registered an FIR against Union Minister Narayan Rane for his alleged derogatory remarks against Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray.
As per the information shared by Nashik Police Commissioner Deepak Pandey, the police have registered a case under Sections 500, 505 Section 2, 153B Section 1C of the Indian Penal Code based on the complaint filed by Nashik Shiv Sena Chief. Pandey also said that a team led by Deputy Commissioner of Police Sanjay Barkand is going to arrest Rane for his statements against Thackeray. As per the order issued by Pandey, the accused in the case is a union minister who made statements against the chief minister which may aggravate the law and order situation. So it is important that the accused be arrested and produced before a court. The order also instructs the officers to follow all protocols necessary to arrest the union minister and a Rajya Sabha member. As per the protocol, the Vice President of India and Chairman of Rajya Sabha must be informed after the arrest of a Rajya Sabha member. Talking about the FIR registered against him, Rane said that he does not know about any FIR registered against him, and Maharashtra CM might have done it out of jealousy, as his Jan Ashirwad Yatra is getting a good response from the people.
The People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration on Tuesday adopted a resolution to restore the constitutional position of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh under Article 370 and 35A.
A press conference after a meeting of PAGD leaders here today, PAGD spokesperson Mohammad Yusuf Tarigami said silence in Jammu and Kashmir is depicted as normalcy. The group appeals to the people of India that it wants its rights, and today the group has gathered to send out a message throughout the country that it is committed to seeking its constitutional rights, Tarigami said. The group demands Article 370, 35A, and statehood must, if restored fully, and this is its constitutional right, Tarigami said. It has adopted a resolution to restore the constitutional position of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh under Article 370 and 35A, Tarigami said. He further stated that government orders for stone pelters and others in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir are harsh. One cannot deprive people of their rights until proven guilty in the court of law, he added. The constituents of the People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration as well as their party leaders met at Jammu and Kashmir's National Conference Chief Farooq Abdullah's residence in Srinagar on Tuesday. Notably, the leaders from constituent parties have for the first time attended the meeting of PAGD since its formation 2 years back. People's Democratic Party Chief Mehbooba Mufti, CPIM Central Committee member M.Y. Tarigami, Senior Vice President of Jammu and Kashmir Awam National Conference Muzaffar Ahmad Shah and other leaders from constituent parties reached Abdullah's residence to attend the meeting.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson will be calling on G7 leaders to step up support for Afghan people after the war-torn country fell into the hands of the Taliban last week, said British High Commission in India on Tuesday through an official statement.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson will chair a G7 leaders meeting to continue to stand by the Afghan people and step up support for refugees and increase humanitarian aid. Chairing the meeting, he is expected to urge international partners to match the UK's commitments on aid and the resettlement of those who need it the most in order to protect human rights and contribute to the stability of the region. Leaders are also expected to reiterate their commitment to safeguarding the gains made in Afghanistan over the last 20 years, in particular on girls' education and the rights of women and minorities, said British High Commission release. Discussions are set to cover ongoing collaboration on evacuation efforts at Kabul airport and longer-term work to secure a more stable future for Afghanistan and ensure any new government is inclusive and abides by its international obligations. Ahead of the meeting, Johnson said the first priority is to complete the evacuation of UK citizens and those Afghans who have assisted efforts over the past 20 years. But looking ahead to the next phase, it's vital that the group come together as an international community and agree a joint approach for the longer term, he said.
The Central Investigation Agency chief held a secret meeting with Taliban's deputy leader Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar in Kabul, the Washington Post reported on Tuesday, citing anonymous US officials.
William Burns, head of US Federal Intelligence Agency, and Baradar met on Monday. So far, the highest level meeting between the Taliban and the Biden administration after Kabul was overtaken by the terror group over a week ago. The CIA has not commented on the matter yet. However, it is believed that the meeting included discussions on the extension of the August 31 deadline for withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan, the Washington Post reported. Burns, one of the most decorated diplomats in the Biden administration, has played key roles in foreign service. Nearly 11 years ago, Baradar was arrested by the CIA in a joint US-Pakistan mission and put behind bars for 8 years. Soon after his release in 2018, the Taliban leader initiated peace negotiations with the US.
The meeting of BRICS NSA is set to be held on Tuesday evening, and India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will chair the meet.
The meeting aims to strengthen security cooperation amongst the members. BRICS members comprise of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Earlier during India's chairship, the BRICS member space agencies' heads signed an agreement for cooperation in remote sensing satellite data sharing. The agreement enables building a virtual constellation of specified remote sensing satellites of BRICS space agencies and their respective ground stations that will receive the data. This will contribute to strengthening multilateral cooperation among BRICS space agencies, in meeting the challenges faced by mankind, such as global climate change, major disasters, and environmental protection, BRICS said in a statement earlier. In July, the BRICS meeting of the Contact Group of Economic and Trade Issues was held. During the 3-day meeting, the BRICS members agreed on various proposals circulated by India for strengthening and increasing the intra-BRICS cooperation and trade. These proposals were BRICS cooperation on multilateral trading system, BRICS framework for ensuring consumer protection in e-commerce, non-tariff measures resolution mechanism for SPS-TBT measures, sanitary and phytosanitary working mechanism, BRICS framework on cooperation in professional services, the statement added.
A Ukrainian plane that arrived in Afghanistan to evacuate Ukrainians was hijacked by unidentified people who flew it into Iran. Russia's TASS news agency quoted Ukraine's Deputy Foreign Minister Yevgeny Yenin as saying on Tuesday.
During the previous Sunday, the plane was hijacked by other people, he said, as reported by TASS. On Tuesday, the plane was practically stolen from the authorities and it flew to Iran with an unidentified group of passengers on board instead of airlifting Ukrainians, he said. The country's next 3 evacuation attempts were also not successful because the people could not get into the airport, he said, reported TASS. The minister said that hijackers were armed, but further, he did not say anything about the plane or Ukraine is in the process to get it back or how the Ukrainian citizens got back from Kabul on board of this practically stolen plane or another one sent by Kiev, TASS said. A military transport plane with 83 people on board, including 31 Ukrainians, arrived from Afghanistan to Kiev on Sunday. The presidential office reported that 12 Ukrainian military personnel returned home, while foreign reporters and public figures who requested help were also evacuated. The office also added that around 100 Ukrainians are still evacuating in Afghanistan, according to TASS.
The authorities have introduced the odd-even number traffic system for vehicles in Dimapur, allowing them passage under Section 115 of the Motor Vehicle Act 1958, Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019. However, the arrangement seems to be getting violated often. Sources from the Dimapur traffic establishment told HornbillTV that until there are new notifications, the arrangement will continue till September. However, people can be seen violating it, it was informed. Further, because of lack of space for parking, traffic jams apparently have yet to be reduced. A large number of people across the world are unhappy with China due to its destructive policies and unreasonable global attitude that have been hampering the world, a media report said on Sunday.
Handling of the pandemic, human rights violation, and its harassment of neighboring countries over baseless border claims have fueled hatred against the communist regime in people worldwide. Pew Research Center's survey on China of June finds that in the 14 advanced economies of Europe, in Asia Pacific, Canada, and the US surveyed in 2020, and in New Zealand, Singapore, and Taiwan surveyed in spring 2021, most citizens had openly expressed unfavorable views about China, the Times of Israel reported. The Trump administration had dragged China to the limelight of criticism as then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo had slammed severe sanctions on Beijing over its repressive policies. Not a one-off settlement, poll records reflect that this sort of an adverse response to China has consistently grown over the last decade. With an 81% negative outlook, Australia has seen a rise of up to 24 percentage points since last year, whereas in the UK, around 75% of survey respondents seem to have negative views, up by almost 19 points, the Times of Israel added. In all, China's handling of the pandemic has been significant in making people unpleasant with Beijing. The criticism of Chinese conduct at the time of the outbreak made 61% of people surveyed across the 14 nations dissatisfied with that country's response to the situation, Fabian Bossart mentioned in the Times of Israel. During the pandemic, when countries scrambled to prevent economies due to a massive fall, the Chinese economy was on the rise, and it gave Beijing a boost to sustain its aggressive actions against its rivals, whether it's about the South China Sea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, or others. These all fueled China's negative image worldwide.
The US Food and Drug Administration on Monday gave full approval to Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine.
The agency made the decision, giving the Pfizer-BioNTech shot the full go-ahead for patients aged 16 years or older. The vaccine still holds an emergency use authorization for those aged 12 to 15 and for a third booster shot, FDA said in a statement. The FDA has officially approved the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, US President Joe Biden said in a tweet. While all three COVID vaccines have met FDA's strict standards for emergency use, this FDA approval should give added confidence that this vaccine is safe and effective, President Biden said. Meanwhile, acting FDA Commissioner Janet Woodcock also said that the public can be very confident that this vaccine meets the high standards of safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing quality the FDA requires of an approved product. The shot will now be known under the name Comirnaty. The decision will help increase confidence in the vaccine, as vaccination remains the best tool there is to help protect lives, Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla said in a statement. This milestone puts us one step closer to altering the course of this pandemic in the US, he added. The Biden administration is also preparing to roll out an expansive booster shot campaign next month, offering a third shot to patients who receive the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. As the highly infectious Delta variant spreads, the US is experiencing a surge in COVID-19 cases. Many southern states are struggling for hospital capacity amid resistance from Republican leaders and the public to vaccinations and mask mandates.
In its first fatwa after the siege of Kabul, the Taliban in Herat province have ordered all government and private universities to end co-education in their centers, a media report said.
In Western Herat province, the Taliban have ordered that girls will no longer be allowed to sit in the same classes with boys in government and private universities, Afghanistan's Khama Press reported on Saturday. In a 3-hour-long meeting between university lecturers, owners of private institutions, and the Taliban, the latter said that there is no alternative and justification for continuing with co-education and it must be ended, the report said. The country has separate classes for boys and girls in schools and there is co-education in government and private universities. Officials have raised their concerns over the decision as separate classes can be managed in public universities and institutions but is difficult in private institutes as there are fewer female students. Mullah Farid, who represented the Taliban during the meeting, said that co-education should be ended because this system is the root of all evils in society. Taliban entered Kabul on August 15th. The city has witnessed chaotic scenes over the past week with people rushing to the airport to flee the country. Many countries have also started evacuating their citizens and diplomatic personnel from the war-torn country.
And that was all for the eye. For more news and updates, stay tuned to Hornbill TV.